Get the energy up. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, family. How are you? It is an amazing and beautiful Thursday. I don't know what the moon positions are, but I can tell you a lot of crazy things have been happening today. But that's okay. We are here and the show is going to go on. I hope wherever you are that we just reach you in the best of spirits. I'm just delighted to have today's guest, and we're going to be talking about some amazing issues that I think are important to not only you, our community, but to our society. I just want to take a second out right now because it's on my heart. And before I do that, let me just first of all make sure we're live because I need to do that. I don't see any eyes yet, but I know my people will be chiming in as they always do. It is such a beautiful day. I just want to go to Facebook, make sure we're on and you guys can see us. And if you're out there and you join in and you can see us, please let us know. Please let us know. Welcome. I want to take a moment today, and if you can hear me, the eyes that have chimed in, I want to say welcome to you, but just say, yeah, Cheryl, we can hear you. So I know that my mic is working. Like I said, I don't know if it's a full moon or something, but the electronics are being a little weird. I would be remiss if I didn't start off today and just acknowledging the passing of Wilma Chan, who was an American politician in California serving on the Alameda County Board of Supervisors. She was a Democrat. She served in the California State Assembly from 2000 to 2006 before she termed out representing the 16th District. For me, she was more than, she was a community leader. Thank you, Daryl. I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you, Lyle. I appreciate you. Wilma was an advocate and a community leader. I can remember when I had the audacity to think that I could run for the Board of Supervisors, you guys. And it was an amazing experience, my only toe into politics. And I quickly took that toe out. But Wilma embraced me and pulled me to the side and basically said that if I ever decided to run, that she would walk hand in hand with me. So we lost a giant. I just want to say prayers to her and her family. It's a reminder to each of us that life is very short and that it's very important that we as individuals and human beings really take time to live our best life. This platform was built so that I could create a space for women and women of color where their voices could be heard, where we didn't have that platform. At the same time, I think it's very important for us to start to support each other in those efforts, including what I'm doing here. And wherever you are, I want to say to you, live your life, live your dreams, don't wait. Tomorrow's never promised. Today is the day. Today is the day for you to stand up and be your most amazing self. So with that said, I'm going to get started. This is going to be an amazing show. But I want to just share with you just a little bit about this platform and why I started it. My name again is Cheryl Grant, and welcome to Fit Live. We are here to highlight both the real journeys and triumphs of individuals, professionals, and entrepreneurs from around the globe. Getting fit is more than about a physical process. It's a roadmap for getting into mental shape, developing faith, intuition, and tenacity necessary to propel you towards your own success, not only in business, but in life. So the question I ask you today, are you ready to get fit? Are you ready? Are you ready to get fit? Are you ready to instill faith? Learn how to take the best practices that are going to be shared with you today and apply them to your life. Having faith is the substance of things, evidence of things, hope. It is a substance of things hoped for and evidence of things unseen. It's being able to see with your spiritual eye. Intuition. Do you know how to learn how to listen to that still small voice within inside of you? And tenacity, to have the willpower to go out there and get it done. Well, if you don't, listen in today because you're about to get it. I want you to welcome this amazing guest, Kim Thompson. Kim Thompson, welcome.
Thank you, Cheryl, my friend. It's so good to see you.
It's so good to see you. Who is this Thompson Bliss guy? Hi, how are you? Do you know her? I'm excited about Kim Thompson. Me too. Me too. I am excited about her too. I want to say to you, Kim, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come on to Fit Live to share your story. The world needs to hear your story, and I'm just so excited to have you today. I want to start off by properly introducing her, and the best way that I know to do that is I'm going to read her bio. And then, as I always do, I'm going to share with you my personal experience of Kim, because I think it's really important that we make these interviews very become live. And one of the ways we do that, telling stories. So with that, I'm gonna put on my glasses. So now you guys know my age. So let me put on my glasses. Kim is a principal at PWC and a CEO Action for Racial Equity Fellow. In her fellowship role, she drives social and racial justice through public policy and corporate engagement strategies. Previously, Kim was PricewaterhouseCoopers Global Advisory Risk and Quality Leader, providing quality and risk management advice on a wide range of issues to PwC's global deals, consulting on forensics and businesses. Kim also led the PwC Global Risk Management Consultation Support and Analysis Team, providing risk management advice to the PwC network on emerging risk issues across all of PwC's lines of service. Kim also served the U.S. firm's Black Inclusion Network leader. Kim previously served as Global Deputy General Counsel, advising PwC's global advisory business. Before that, she served in PwC's U.S. Office of the General Counsel, advising the U.S. advisory insurance businesses before joining PwC. Kim was a commercial and securities litigator with Gibson, Dunn, and Crutcher. Kim has a JD from the University of California Berkeley School of Law, where she was an editor for the California Law Review. She earned her BA in philosophy from Cornell University. Kim is an active participant in her local community and serves on the boards of Legal Services for Children and the S&H Cow Foundation, both of whom focus on the needs of economically disadvantaged youth. Kim also serves on the board of the Berkeley Law Alumni Association and is a member of the President's Council and Cornell Women, CCW. She serves as the steering committee as chair of the Diversity and Inclusion Committee. She is also a member of the Cornell Mosaic and organization focused on strengthening the Building Cornell student and the alumni engagement within diverse communities and with the university. Kim also serves on the board of the Martin Luther King Junior Foundation, and I can actually go on and on and on and on and on about Kim's legacy and the board that she serves on. I want to take just a moment right now just to share with you, Kim, my introduction to Kim came from a very person who I consider a very dear friend, Nicole Felix, of her and her husband. And her husband currently serves on the board for the Oakland African American Chamber of Commerce, of which was a recommendation by Nicole. And I took the lead from there to help ensure we got him on board. And of course, the board embraced him. But my experience of her welcoming me into her home, I've been on several events to her home where she's done fundraising. When I talk about being a real community advocate, Kim and her family and her husband and her daughter are truly committed to the well-being of Oakland. I watch them not only by the words that they say, but the actions that they take and how they show up in the community to take action and really be a support system. So for that, I want to say it's an honor for me, Kim, to have you here today. And it's an honor for me to have an opportunity to work with you on this fellow program that you're going to be implementing for the betterment of the community of Oakland. So I want to say welcome.
Thank you so much, Cheryl. And it is such a pleasure to work with you, not only because of all the expertise you bring, but also because of the energy you bring everywhere, every time.
I do have a lot of that. I do. Thank you. Well, Kim, today is really just about us having a conversation. Yes, she does have quite a resume, and I love it. I love it because she does a lot. That's what happens when you are truly involved in your community. Your resume grows because you're constantly giving. But Kim, the question that I have for you today, and I ask every guest this on the Fit Life platform, Kim Thompson, what are you passionate about?
I am really passionate. There's a lot of stuff that I'm passionate about, but you know what really drives me, what makes me want to jump up and out of bed every day is I love to bring people together for the betterment of society, or at least to improve my community. And I love Oakland. I'm passionate about my community, and I love working on solving problems that the community needs to solve. And there's sort of nothing better than bringing different people together to make that happen.
Well, Kim, you do that, and you do that in so many different ways. I'd love for you to share with the audience because one of the things is after reading a resume like yours, Kim, it's like, oh my God, does she have any problems? Has she ever gone through anything in her life? Have she ever had to struggle? And the platform is all about being fit, right? Mentally fit. And fit again is faith, intuition, and tenacity. Kim, can you share an example in living your passion? Like you're passionate about the community. I have watched you, so I know the words you speak are very true. But on your journey, first of all, before I even ask you that question, before I go to faith, and something else just came to mind. Kim, did you always know that you wanted to be an attorney?
No, I mean, when I was in high school, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And to be honest, my undergraduate degree was in philosophy. And I don't know if you know that many professional philosophers. I don't know any.
Philosophy.
Yeah, professional philosopher who goes by philosopher. So I decide, one of the things that people do after undergrad, where you kind of do something that's interesting but doesn't necessarily direct you to a particular type of career. One of the places people go to is law school. And when I was a kid, we had a family friend who was a lawyer. I mean, he did something completely different than I've ever done. But I got to sit in his office and sort of watch him for a day. And I thought, that looks pretty fun. And I decided, yeah, I think I'll go to law school. What is hilarious is, of course, what he did has nothing to do with anything I've ever done. He did completely different types of a legal practice than what I've ever done. But by luck, I think so much of what happens in your life is just sort of a meandering, some of it is purposeful and a lot of it is luck. And by luck, I decided to go to law school. I decided to go to the University of California, Berkeley. And everything sort of happened along the way. And here I am. And I think, gee, I can't believe the good fortune I've had in the path that I've happened to land on. But I wouldn't redo it today. I wouldn't change a thing.
Wow, I love that story. Can you share with me a time on your journey where you've ever experienced difficulty? And I know I can come up with a scenario. Being a woman of color in this world is not an easy thing to do, and especially a lawyer of your caliber doing the level of law work that you did. Kim, can you give an example of something where you had to test your faith? And anecdotally, what did you do to overcome it? Is there a story that you can share with us along that life's journey? And the reason I ask you these questions is because one of the things I really like to point out for my audience is those that are really struggling with trying to find their way. Those that are really struggling with trying to identify and don't really know what the next step is going to be. I have a lot of friends that are millennials that are in law school, and it's not easy. And when they get out, and understanding some of the things that you've had to go through that might encourage them along the way. Can you share a story with us?
Yeah, in some ways I kind of have too, because I think about early in my career, And I think about later in my career and very early in my career, when I was still in law school, I applied for a job at a law firm, a very prestigious law firm, that everybody said, oh, they're this great law firm and they're very progressive and they do all these good things and they care about, doing pro bono work and all this stuff. And I thought, this is the place that I want to work. So I show up to interview for my summer associate job, which is what, it's like a summer intern from law school. You're a summer associate. So I show up to interview for my summer associate job at this great firm. And somehow they had mixed up the schedule. So they look at the schedule and they say, and they see me, and I'm this, young Black woman, and they say, are you here for the secretary's interview? And I say, no, I'm here for the summer associate interview. And then they look down at the papers and they flip through and they come back and they say, yeah, no, I think you're here for the secretary interview. And I'm like, no, I'm here for the summer associate interview. And then they spend all this time, and I'm getting more and more and more and more upset. And by the time somebody goes back and figures it out and realizes that somebody put it down on the wrong something, and they hadn't pulled together the schedule properly because they had just made a mistake. And I'm like, trying to pull out, the paperwork that I had. In those days, you didn't have a cell phone to pull it out. I had like a copy of the thing that was printed out that said the day I was supposed to show up. And I was so upset. I couldn't go through the interview. But by then they were like, oh, so sorry. Would you like to interview? I was so upset I couldn't go through with the interview that day. And they invited me back, and I went back, several days later. But I didn't have it in me to deal with it properly. I was young, and I hadn't had. I just completely didn't expect that kind of thing to happen to me. But when I flash forward to to recently, I mean, the same kinds of things keep happening, right? We still get assumed to be somebody who we're not. And so, one story comes to mind of a couple of years ago. I was flying back from a business trip in Florida, in Southern Florida. And I happen to have like way more miles than anybody ever should on one of the airlines. So I have their hidden double secret special status that no one knows about. Like that they send a car for you to take you from one terminal to the next, so you don't miss your flight, and they hold the planes for you. I had that crazy status. So they let that status get on the plane first. And so they said, if you're global services, please, board at your leisure. So I walk up, but there's a guy right in front of me, a white guy right in front of me, and he pulls out his phone and he goes, bleep. And the guy says, yeah, go ahead. Thank you. Welcome aboard. And then the next person is me, and I go, bleep. And the guy says, oh, you're not global services. And I'm like, yes, I am. And then he's like, no, you're not global services. And I'm like, I think I would know. Yes, I am. And he says, no, let me see your boarding pass. And I pull out my phone and I show him my boarding pass, which looks identical to the boarding pass of the white man who was in front of me, except my seat is 2B and his seat is 1A or something. And the guy says, no, see, you're just group one. Get back to the back of the group one line. At which point I snap. But this time I don't cry. This time I don't wilt. This time I'm defiant. And I say, no, over here it says GLOBAL. And then there's a little space. See that space here on the phone? And then it says services, SERVICES. That spells global services. And the guy looks at me and he says, well, you don't have to be so huffy about it. I don't understand why you're so upset. At which point I say, I'll tell you why I'm so upset.
Oh my God.
Because I look like this, and he, the guy who just went in front of me, looks like that. And I'm saying it loudly so that everybody around can hear and hopefully learn from the experience of making an assumption. He had such an assumption about me as a Black woman who, by the way, was wearing business clothes just like the guy in front of me and just like the guy behind me. But made an assumption about me based on my race or my race and my gender, and couldn't even see it on the boarding pass. Meanwhile, he didn't even look at the boarding pass of the guy in front of me, didn't even need to, because he just assumed that a white guy who's in business casual, of course, he knows what he's talking about. But the Black woman, she has no idea. So, but I will say, I had a very different reaction a little later on in life when I'd seen that, been there, done that so many times, where I kind of feel like I'm going to be defiant, and I'm going to stand my ground, and I'm going to tell it like it is, and I'm going to hopefully help them learn a lesson.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that. And thank you for both of those analogies, because it really does paint a clear picture. Sometimes the things that are happening are microaggressions, and they're not things that are so blatantly that somebody has to call you a name in order for it to be considered being marginalized or being put into a box. It's the little things that happen along the way. And I thank God for where we are now. I'm so sad that it had to come to the society losing a life like a George Floyd in order for the world to have an epiphany that we lived in a space that was not truly receptive or receiving of people of color. And while we know that it is so true, we live in a world that consistently was in denial or wanted, maybe not even really in denial, just didn't want to acknowledge the fact. And while I'm really excited to see all the DEI initiatives that are happening around the globe, to me, you've been in DEI for, and active in this role for a very long time, that I think that when corporate looks at DEI, my grandfather used to tell me, I always use my grandfather's old adages because they just stick with me. And, my grandparents, I have them all behind me. My whole family tree is on my wall here. But he said, the definition of sanity is to continue to do the same thing and expect different results. And I think that we still continually approach this DEI issue from a one lens perspective. And it's not about getting 20,000 Black people into a corporation, or I make that number up, obviously. It's really about humanness. It's really about humankind. It's really about allowing individuals to have an equal opportunity for a role or a position, and not being minimalized because of the color of their skin. And I think it also takes an approach that we have to come from a lens of how do we really truly help bridge the gap to this new way of intersectionality to really create cultural competency within these organizations and in the world, and not be fearful that it's necessarily about getting rid of anything, or somebody has to feel threatened if it be that of a white man or a white female or anything other than being of color or Black. We truly can get along. There really is enough for all of us. It doesn't have to be either or. This really brings me to my next question of you, and it really has to do with, I am so proud. Did I say that loud enough? I don't know. I am so proud. I've been told I'm loud, but it is what it is. When you told me about PWC and what they were doing, to me, that's where corporate stopped putting up the smoke and mirrors and putting on advertisements of Black people that are in their company. But when you peel it back, Black people really aren't in their company, or people of color are not really in their company. Is just a way to say that, see, we checked a box. Let's not check boxes. Let's be in mode to do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. But can you talk about PWC's Fellows Program?
Yeah, and sure. And it's absolutely. And it's not just PWC, although I think our CEO, my CEO from PWC, actually started the fellowship. But it's CEO Action for Racial Equity. And basically, what we're all about is bringing corporate America into solving the important problem of systemic racism in the country. And our focus is specifically on the 47 million Black people living in the United States. Not to say that we're only interested in solving racial equity issues for Black people, but it's a 2-year fellowship, and we're trying to make sure that as we look at what we do over the 2-year period, we're able to measure, if we're looking at a specific population. And we also recognize that the disparities with respect to health outcomes, with respect to economic outcomes, with respect to education, and with respect to public safety are particularly, there are particularly huge disparities, racial and inequities for Black people in this country. And so it's all about trying to work toward coming up with corporate engagement strategies and policy solutions to try to deal with systemic racism. And there's about 120 or so different companies who are all participating alongside PwC, but we've got 30 of the fellows are PwC fellows, and I'm proud to be one of them.
Oh my God, I think that is so amazing. And one of the things that I love is your approach in as a collective in looking at these disparities, because we tend to want to look at it as that everything is in one bucket. And there's really so many areas that it's like boiling the ocean. I mean, you have health, you have housing, you have mental health, you have racial, you have, I mean, like the buckets are so many and they're deep and they're like onions. When you keep pulling them back, there's more, there's more, there's more. How did you decide what to do? How did you come up with a strategy to truly be a leader in trying to tackle this behemoth of a thing? How did you do that?
Well, so within the fellowship broadly, we were focusing on ideating with respect to education, healthcare, public safety, and economic empowerment broadly. And we spent a lot of time looking at how many people would be possibly impacted by various different solutions that we could come up with. We looked at, how likely are we going to be to make a difference? We looked at a whole bunch of factors. We looked at what was going on, in the Biden administration, and what's going on in the world around us. But specifically to me and the work that I'm doing, we also decided to do some place-based work, working in 5 different cities. And the first city we decided to start in is Oakland. And so Cheryl and you and I are going to work together on this a little. And what we did in Oakland to really understand what was going on is talk to a variety of different community members and community leaders, including Cheryl, and about, 25 or 30 other community organization leaders and policymakers, as well as many, probably 100 community members, some through surveys, intercept surveys, where we talked to people. We went to East Oakland, we went to West Oakland, we went downtown, and we literally talked to people with clipboards in our hands, asking them questions and taking notes, as well as some, we did some focus groups with a variety of folks, including some local Black business owners that Cheryl, you helped us collect a few folks for that piece, as well as, folks who are looking, first-time home buyers, families, people who are justice impacted, et cetera, to really understand what the community wants. And then we also considered things like, well, what else, how might work that we want to do line up with other work that's going on in fellowship, so that we can kind of take advantage. And for example, we've got a team who's working on community development financial institutions, CDFIs. Will that be helpful to a solution that we might want to do in Oakland? Or, as well as, what do the policymakers think, and what's on their agendas? And so we looked at, the city council members and the mayor and the department heads, and, looked at city, the city council meeting minutes for the last 6 minutes, went through all of the meeting minutes to see what were the issues that they were interested in, so that we'd have some sense as to where are we likely to have some inroads, some ability to succeed, or where is there likely to be a lot of pressure to not move forward with things that we were looking at. So we took a whole host of things into consideration before ultimately deciding where we wanted to spend our time.
But you know what I love most? And this is what I'm talking about when I say to corporate, bring those who are in the community into the conversation. If the only people you're talking to are the same people you're talking to before, there's a problem with that picture already. There's no true diversity if you look around the room and you don't see representation from the community. That's not that you're not vying for a true solution in terms of diversity. Um, I got to remove my phone because I can hear a little feedback. And sometimes when my phone is close to my computer, it gives me that feedback. But you have to have people at the table. You have to invite them into the conversation. And I love that what you did, because what that says to me is that that's not smoke and mirrors. What you're doing is doing the groundwork, and you got to do the groundwork, because if you don't do the groundwork, then you can't build the right foundation. And then if you don't have the right foundation, everything you build on top of it will fall down. It's not going to stand because it doesn't have the ingredients necessary for a successful implementation of whatever the ultimate end result of what you're going to do. And by including all those voices, that is just profound to me. And I happen to know that you did those things, not only being a part of it, but actually seeing you and some of the fellows with clipboards in your hand at 7 o'clock in the morning, walking around the streets asking questions and, ready to engage with us and another conversation along the way. But that is power. And that's where we start to bridge the gap. So I just want to say right now, and anybody out there, first of all, this is not meant to be a monologue. This is meant to be a dialogue. Please join in and ask questions. That's when it gets rich. What are you facing? What do you want to hear from Kim? What do you want to hear from her? What can she share with you today that will help your world to be better? And Kim, again, to you and the entire fellow program, thank you. Thank you for being bold. Thank you for taking the initiative. And if you don't mind me asking, because I am going to ask, what is it that you decided to do?
So in Oakland, fellowship wide, we've got like 12 or 13 different solutions, ranging from things with relating to food equity, as I mentioned, community development, financial institutions, making early childhood education available to everyone. Racism is a public health crisis. There's a piece of federal legislation, and there's some state and local pieces of legislation on that. A variety of things on the federal side, decriminalization of poverty. That's sort of the fellowship broadly. But with respect to Oakland, the part that we interviewed you and got your feedback on, we're actually focused on two things. One, I'm really excited about is helping Black businesses succeed in Oakland. And what we want to do is look at all of the things that Black business owners need to succeed, and trying to pull all of those things into one place. So, for example, various organizations provide help with access to capital. Some of them help with, sort of an incubation program. Some of them will help with, various other aspects of getting, your business off the ground. But they may only do it for businesses that have revenues over $100,000, or they may only do it for businesses that are very, very small, or they may only provide some of the services that you want. We want all of the services for all of the businesses, including anything from how do you get a license to how do you get, how can you be on the business diversity lists of the supplier diversity lists for companies, to, how do you get capital, to just everything. So that's a big piece of it. And we're also going to be working on advocating for getting Black businesses a more equitable share of the contracts that they get from the city.
Oh my God. No, please, come on. Keep going.
So
I'm
yeah,
just,
so that's one piece, and then the other piece that we're going to be working on is it relates to affordable housing, and we're looking at trying to set up a special type of financing tool um, called an EIFD, which is it's basically a special financing tool where you can you essentially come up with a piece of property, a specific piece of property where you want to build affordable housing, and you improve the property, and but the tax base stays the same in terms of what's going to into the coffers of the city and the county. But as the property improves and there are more tax revenues that would be generated from the property, that additional incremental amount goes straight back into a pocket of money that is used for affordable housing. And it happens over a 45-year period, so that there would be there will be sort of a long-term funding for affordable housing. So we're going to be working on an affordable housing idea, and we're going to be working on an idea relating to helping Black businesses succeed. And the reason why we look at affordable housing, by the way, is that was the number one issue that we heard from Oaklanders, from Black Oaklanders. And when you look at Oakland and realize that 24% of Black Oakland, of Oakland, 24% of the population is Black, but 75% of the unsheltered population, of the population that does not have a home, is Black. And so, we are disproportionately
wait a minute. I
are
didn't even know that
disproportionately
number.
represented in
70%
the unsheltered population
is not housed, and 24%
of all of Oakland is Black.
is
Yeah.
Black.
So
Wow.
we make up 24% of the population, but we make up 75% or so of the unsheltered population, of the homeless population.
Oh,
And that's just not right.
no,
So
it's not.
and housing is just so difficult to afford. We heard that from a lot of folks, and Oakland is such a great place. I love, 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 love Oakland, and I want all of the great Black folks who live here, who are part of making this place what it is, to stay.
Oh,
But you can stay if you've got a place. If you don't have a place, it's a lot harder. We need to make sure everybody has a home.
I am just, oh my God, my heart is just filled with joy right now. Just hearing this, because we need as much help as we can get in order of supporting the 24%, and of that 24%, 70%. That just is, those numbers are just, I mean, they're heart wrenching. We need to help the homeless. And I totally understand, and I see it every day, and it saddens me. And especially when we get the rainy weather, and it's just like, where do they go? What do they do? So I'm thankful for the work that you're doing, and I'm thankful for you and your organization partnering with the Oakland African American Chamber of Commerce, because I think we are a key and intricate part of this community, and we are committed to the businesses that we support. And here in Oakland, as you know, we have over 324 plus businesses, and will be etching towards more 500. And if you look at us at the U.S. Chamber, we have over 300,000 Black businesses. So the help is needed, and we welcome it. And I'm looking forward to working with you and your team. And my team is growing on the Oakland African American Chamber of Commerce, the Transformer team, where we really are looking to transform businesses. That is our whole objective and goal of the Transformer team. So I can't wait to see you come in. I can't wait to see the work we're going to do together for the community and for the betterment of Oakland. And I love the work that we're doing. And it's always a beautiful thing when you're working with people who are truly not in it for self-recognition, or not in it for politicalization, or any of those things. I know you and, well, I don't know you and John, but I know you and John. You know what I mean? And you guys are just amazing. You're just amazing. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be engaging, because of the two of you, with Oakland Side, because I want to give them an opportunity to share in what we are doing out in the community. And I have a meeting, a matter of fact, tomorrow. So thanks to you and the introduction. I also, because of the two of you, I learned her name is Savlin. Basically, there is a place here in Jack London Square that primarily focuses on making sure things are okay, and that it's safe. Furniture isn't in the middle of the street. That's all they go around the city and do. And I'm like, I didn't even. Who knew they existed? Like, where did you come from? And they're right on Broadway. I mean, they're literally on Broadway, and they're here to ensure the safety of this community. And I just loved hearing that, because how else would we have learned but from Kim and from John? That's where I learned it first. So thank you so much. Kim Thompson and John Bliss are so great for Oakland. You know what? You could say that again, because you really are. You really are. One of the things I remember saying to you, Kim, when I first met you, and you so embrace it, because not everybody is so open, but I'm like, I hella love Oakland. And you said, me too. I hella love Oakland too, because that's such a so endearing. It's a term for us that's so endearing, because we do love this beautiful city. Oakland is an amazing city. The lake is beautiful. The hills are beautiful. Walking through Jack London Square is beautiful. So I'm glad that you guys are taking an interest in our business, because that's going to be healthy for our community. It's going to be healthy for those who are homeless. And so I only see great things coming from it. I really want to tell the audience again, this is not meant to be a monologue. This is meant to be a dialogue. So join the conversation. Do you have any questions? Do you have any comments? Or anything you were dying to ask Kim Thompson about what she does and why she picked this project and why it's so meaningful? This is your city too. And if it's not your city, maybe you want to have her come talk to your city after she's done with this project. I'm not sure. But whatever the case may be, I really encourage you to chime into the dialogue. Whether you watch this now or whether you watch it later, I really do encourage you. So Kim, like, you don't have enough on your plate. What are the other things that you are working on? What are some of the other things that you're working on?
So I'm on a number of boards, and sometimes I say to myself, am I crazy? But there's so many good things happening in Oakland, and so many organizations that do so many great things, that I can't help myself. So a lot of what I do in my sort of spare time is over the in the evenings, if you sort of drive by our house, you might like on a Wednesday or Thursday night, you might see a bunch of cars outside our house, because we do a lot of entertaining events for nonprofit organizations, like Oakland Side, like Oakland Lacrosse we have coming next week, like Legal Services for Children, one of the organizations I'm on a board up for, that I was with, that we had an event for last week as well. And to me, it's actually, as crazy as it may sound to say, oh, gee, we're going to have 80 people in our backyard, next week. It's actually kind of invigorating, because part of it is all about meeting up with people and connecting them. And so, you said, for example, you met some folks from Oakland Side, and the whole point of that particular event was for people to learn about Oakland Side, this fantastic newspaper that reports on what's going on in Oakland, and they're fairly new. They've only been around for about a year, and so we invited a lot of friends to come and learn about them. And nothing makes me happier than knowing that you've met, and now we're going to have a meeting with Oakland Side. And similarly, the other day, John and I were at an event over the weekend with a number of folks, with our mayor Libby Schaff, and a variety of different folks, and different people. We brought people together. They brought people together. So I talked to somebody from the Roots who wanted to meet with somebody from Boys and Girls Clubs, and I didn't realize that they were both there at the same time. And so after that, I could connect them. That's energizing to me, and it's fun, especially when it's people who I know are doing good things, connecting them with other people who I know are doing good things. And to me, you do that, and good things come of it every single time.
Oh my God, I love that. One of the things that you said in the questionnaire that we have all of our guests fill out is that you're a connector and you like connecting people. So, and you really do that, and you do it in a very organic way. It's not forced. Your backyard is fairly huge, if I might not add, that it really allows for, especially with COVID and all this and people feeling uncomfortable, is number one outside, and there's enough room where you're not on top of each other, and it just makes it so welcoming. And everybody whom I've met at your events are very, very interested in what you are doing. Everybody comes with that intention. Like, who are you? What do you do? How do you do it? That's how I met Savlin. I was just like, oh my God. So I thank you and John for doing that. And I kept that up there for a minute because you are a great host. So Kim, I have a question for you. How can we, SGI in this community, support you?
Showing up, showing up. I never know who's going to be the one who has the key to whatever it is that needs to be unlocked. And I don't know what that is all the time, but if you come and you talk and you meet and you connect with people, you're showing up and you're fulfilling what I want to see in the world is good people connecting with good people. And if I can just tell you another story, I'm going to tell you a
Of
story
course you can. Of
of
course you can.
of connecting people
Yes.
and of showing up and doing the right thing. So years ago, at my firm, our firm was doing this skills training thing where we were essentially trying to help students who may not have access to financial literacy learn about financial literacy. And I thought, I'm friends with Cal Stanley, who is the executive director, president, CEO of Boys and Girls Clubs of Oakland. And I know my firm wanted to connect with organizations where we could do this work. So let me just bring them together, And so the partner who was leading this effort to try to get us, our firm, into more organizations, I brought him, I set up a little meeting, and I had that partner, and I had Cal and myself, and we all sat down and we chatted. And my firm ended up doing some of this training. And I thought nothing of it. I thought that's great. And then about a year later, John and I bought a table actually, to a Boys and Girls Club event. And Cal pulled me aside quickly and said, Kim, John, I want you to meet somebody. And he wanted to introduce us to somebody. That somebody was a new member of the board of Boys and Girls Clubs of Oakland. And that somebody happened to be the CFO of the Golden State Warriors. And she said that, Cal really said he wanted me to meet you guys because you guys are very involved in the community and you're always connecting people. And then she said, community stuff is really important to me too. And that's why I'm on this board. But also, I actually decided to hire PWC as my external auditor, even though I had actually worked earlier in my career at one of the other big four firms, because PwC had done this great thing where they're doing this financial literacy course. She did not know that I was the person who had actually made that happen. And I'm sitting there going, I can't believe that a part of what her decision making, a part of what she thought about when she was making her decision was this great thing that my firm was doing that I had connected us into. And I just felt like, every time that I connect people, every time that I do something that I feel like I'm trying to do something good,
Mhm.
it comes back 3, 4, 10, 100-fold. And that was just one of those moments where I was just, I couldn't believe it. And yet it was just something that happened, because, making this little connection was just a piece of the puzzle that ended up, getting my firm hired to be the auditor of the Warriors. So
that is so incredible. Kim, it reminds me, I went on a Mediterranean cruise in 2017. I flew into Italy, spent a few days there, and then we went on this Mediterranean cruise. And they did this game on the cruise where we broke into groups because it was a women's group and it was all about leadership development. And I didn't know these women prior to going. I kind of just went by myself and met them when I got there, right? But this exercise, it reminds me of what you're just talking about. So we had about maybe 10, maybe 7 or 8 tables of 10, right? And we had everybody was given an exercise to try to solve. The world was going, funny example, but the world had a pandemic and it needed to solve the issue. And one of the tables had the key, and it was up to us to figure out what the key was to unlock. When you use the word unlock, you never know what connect the dots, unlock this time machine so that the world, they wouldn't come to an end because of the pandemic. And lo and behold, the key was a little boy in the room. We're all adults and couldn't figure it out. And the little boy in the room said, why don't we put all the keys together? Wait a minute. Why don't we put all the keys together? And that was the answer to unlock. But we individually were so in our own worlds trying to figure out our own little stuff that we couldn't look at the bigger picture and say, well, it's really not that big. And when we all came together, the way that the keys lined up, and you put in a lock, unlock this box that was on the table. So case in point being, you never know who you're going to meet, and you never know the impact you're going to have. So just show up. Just show up and do your part. And thank you, Kim and John and your entire family, for just showing up and opening up your home, because you don't have to do that. You have a very beautiful home. You don't have to do that. And you do it. And I remember the night I was there, I can't remember how many people, it was a lot. And I just know the next night you were doing another one. I'm thinking to myself, okay, I can't imagine going to bed the next day. I'm going to do this again tomorrow. But you did, and you continue to do it. So I thank you, and I applaud you. I absolutely applaud you. You said how we can support you is to just show up. Is that what you said?
I said, just show up. Just show up.
Just show up.
And be engaged.
And be engaged. I am feeling so inspired right now and honored and feeling of gratitude. Sometimes you work like the work I do and you wonder, are you touching lives? Are people really listening? Are they getting the ingredients? But you never know. So just continue showing up. Sure, you might unlock a key somewhere in the world and you don't even know it yet.
Well, I can tell you, you are. I mean, the input that you gave to our team in terms of looking at what we're going to work on in the fellowship, that was just huge. And the work that you're going to do going forward with us as part of the African American Chamber of Commerce in particular, but also from an SGI perspective, is going to be huge. So when I say just show up, I mean it. I mean, like, I got a call. I sent you a meeting invitation, and I look forward to really having that conversation to see how we can really make a difference.
Well, we are going to make a difference. And I want to say to the audience right now, this is the kind of thing why I do what I do. And I love what I do. Every Thursday, I look forward to this, the work that I do every day. When I'm posting, you guys, I just want you to hear me loud and clear. I'm not posting. I post pictures and they're pictures of me, but it's not about that. Read what I'm saying. I'm showing up to hopefully pour into you so that your day can be better. I do it for no other reason. I'm not looking for anything in return in regards to that. This is what I do. I just might give to you. I have programs that I charge for. I have curriculums that we're going to be deploying out. And I'm really excited about that. So we have less than 5 minutes left. So Kim, I'm going to ask you a question and I don't want you to answer it right now. I'm going to ask you a question and I don't want you to answer it right now. I'm going to ask you, then I'm going to tell them some stuff and then I'm going to come back and then you can answer it. Okay. And the question is, if you could leave one piece of advice for everybody here, what would that advice be? And so I'm going to hold that there. And I want to say again to this audience, thank you for supporting me. Thank you so much. This platform couldn't be made possible without my team. I can't do this alone. It can't be made possible without all the businesses that I advocate for. It can't be done alone. And I have to just give credit where credit is due. I have a program where I'm working with youth. There are millennials that pour into me once a week, and they give me everything that they have. They're called Fit for the Future. Everything I do is all around being fit. We have a project right now where we're looking to go to Africa. We have access to go and educate through the FIT platform over 64,000 women, college women that are dealing with gender-based violence. And this is a real thing that we here in the US take. We don't understand, like globally, there's some major, I mean, we have issues and there's some other issues too that people are having at a whole different level. And so we're going to be taking this FIT platform to Africa, South Africa in particular, working with Cape University. I just got off the phone with a young lady who runs a venture capital company doing work in Africa. And when I tell you this thing is spreading like fire, I mean it's spreading. My goal is to reach 50 million women. And I cannot do that alone. I need your help. And I ask you every week, it's real simple. Just how you can help me if you can't donate. It's Giving Back Tuesday. I have a foundation that I work with these girls. I need your help. Please do when the campaign starts, give. You can go to my website, give. Whatever contribution you make is appreciated in order to do the work that I need to do. No donation is too small and no donation is too large. We can use all that we can get to do the work. That's one. I also want to say do something as simple as go on to Instagram, follow me, go on to my YouTube, subscribe. You get an opportunity to have access. I have over 250 logs of interviews. You can go and listen to amazing individuals like Kim, and the list goes on where you can be inspired and encouraged. We don't have to do this journey alone. There's an old African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you go together. I'm creating a tribe, and I want you to know and follow along with me. For those of you who don't understand my company structure, I'd like to just take 1 minute and tell you what I do. I have Cheryl Grant International, which is my holding company. I have Fit for Business, which is my LLC, and I do 90% of my business out of. I have a technology company that I'm building called, it's EdTech, and it's called Connect Dots. KINETCDOTS, KINECTDOTS. And then I have a foundation, the EKM, named after my grandmother, Esther K. Mims Foundation. We create content, we sell it on Connect Dots, and we give it away for free on EKM. I can't do this work without you. We believe that you need to be, this world that we're living in is all about your mental construct. So FIT is about your mental. But then once you do that, you need to know how to navigate. And then we do the C4 matrix. And it's really simple. It's everything Kim has talked about on this interview. Communication creates connection. Connection creates collaboration, and collaboration creates community. It's really that simple. So continue to support me. Continue to support the work I do. Follow me. Engage with me. I'm here to support you. I have no hidden agendas. But to empower, uplift, and educate 50 million women. That is my agenda, and I'm going to do it, and I need your help. So with that said, thank you, and thank you to my team. And I'm just going to name them off really quickly because I always forget their names. So I wrote them down, you guys. I want to thank John Tay Grant, Jean Grant, Zy Warren, Andrew Stanley, Ebony Creighton, Jasmine Collin. Thank you, Joelle. Thank you. I couldn't do it without you. And to my beautiful daughter who does my makeup, I want to thank her too. She's amazing. So yes, now please, Kim, we're ready to ask the question.
All right, shall I answer?
Yes.
Okay. So what's the one thing that I would say is the thing I'd like to leave?
Yeah.
Relationships matter. And so in every situation that you meet somebody new is an opportunity to develop a relationship. You don't know which one is going to be the one that makes a difference. Every relationship matters. And to get things done, to succeed in life, to succeed in your profession, to succeed in almost anything that anyone would want to do, you need to develop relationships. Relationships matter. And for me, as I look at my career, and I look at where things have happened in the ways that I've wanted them to happen, where have things happened that are good, it's always coming out of relationships.
You heard it from Kim. Relationships matter. Make sure that you take care of those relationships, like she said. And it's very important that you don't burn bridges. You never know when you're going to need somebody. I am just so excited. Um, Daryl says, outstanding advice. Thank you, Kim. You are amazing. You are amazing. You are amazing.
Thank you so much for having me, Cheryl.
No, thank you. Thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to working with you. And thank you for joining us on this amazing platform to showcase the talents of beautiful women of color. I thank you and I appreciate you. So don't hang up. Don't you hang up. For everybody else, I want to say God bless. Have a fabulous weekend. And we'll be talking to you soon. As a matter of fact, if I could share with you next week's guest is going to be Charmaine Woodford. She's going to be talking about her business as a web designer. So I'm graphics designer. Actually, she's even taken it a little further than that. So you'll definitely want to come hear about her journey. So Kim, thank you. Everybody else, have a blessed week and we'll talk soon. Kim, don't hang up.